that was planned for a really long time. This card just falling like that tells me they knew about this, both I think white hat and black hat, because the black hats planned it, but the white hats knew about it for a really long time. And yeah, they manifested everybody getting, taken out of there. But what I want to ask is, did that YouTuber that put that video up, were they tipped off by either white hat or the bad forces? Okay. Somebody tipped that guy off, or did they just, find out about it, put the YouTube up? And I'm not saying the video definitely didn't appear to be a truther style video. To me, it didn't look like they knew anything about what's really going on in the world. Okay, and they could have even been slanting towards, or the whole video could move towards, they could do a part 2 on it and start talking about weather changes and world changes. Like, they certainly weren't per se a woo community person. Okay, not to say that it wasn't good that they put that out. It's just, I'm just curious, who the heck put that out? Let's have a look. So we've got the Chariot card. So they put it out in a big hurry, by the way. So they put it out in a hurry. Now we've got the King of Cups there. So the King of Cups is a psychological card, so that's interesting. And they knew about it ahead of time, and they'd been working on the video for a while. And under here, I'm going to find out who actually prompted them to, or did they just come up with this themselves? We're going to look. Okay, it was politically motivated. So a political party prompted them to do it. I'm going to go with deep state on that then. I'm going to go with deep state. And also the fact that that's a psyop. I think this was one of the, maybe they tipped this person off. Maybe the person didn't even know. I don't even think they knew they were being used by a political party, and they were using it for political reasons. And I feel like they could have told them the story a long time ago, and it just took the person a long time to make the video, but they gave them a bunch of details. So that's really interesting. Wow. Or somehow they fed the details to the person. I don't think the person knew they were being used. So that's the deep state. They planned it a long time ago. White hats got a hold of the intention and outed it to authorities, who moved everybody out. And interesting, because if the whole village was covered up like that, just out of the blue, and humans and animals were, covered as well, and lives were taken like that, and the whole village lives, that would have been horrifying, and it would have made world news. And as it was, it's making Janine's world news here, but really we didn't hear about it much on world news because it didn't go the way they wanted it to. Okay, that would have been a much bigger splash for the global warming and or changes in weather kind of people that like to tell us humans are just destroying the world with, and not to say we couldn't do some things better, we absolutely could, but our earth is much more powerful than our little scratches we're making on it. So I just want to remind people how powerful Mother Earth is. Wow, that was interesting. So yeah, that person, I don't think they were knowingly working for the bad guys, but they got fed info and they were going to be used. Fascinating, and so fascinating. Okay, let's look at this Liverpool in the UK, Liverpool, a car in a huge crowd of people, like completely moves through the crowd, maiming people, like really hurting people. It hurt 79 people. Watching this video, you can't even believe that it didn't kill some people. Look at this. Look at this. Like unbelievable. And purposely, like they make room for the car, and the car or this SUV still goes for the crowd. So they're trying to do it. It's not like they were just frustrated and couldn't get through the crowd. No. Now, here's what's interesting. The BBC claims it was this guy, and they're trying to say that that guy's 53 or 58 years old. Okay, look at this guy. Maybe it's just an old picture of him. But in no way does that guy look 58 years old, just for starters. He looks about 38. Okay, chime in on that. So the BBC saying it was this guy. And a lot of eyewitnesses say, no, that guy was actually trying to help get the guy out. Okay, because they eventually stop the vehicle and then they smash in the back window. And I think they drag the guy out. Okay, so as you watch the video, go ahead and watch it. We're not going to play the whole thing. It's quite horrifying, actually. Then a cop jumps in, and a lot of people, eyewitnesses, said it was a cop driving this thing. But I have a feeling that was because they might have seen it later on when the cop actually jumped in the vehicle, maybe to move it safely. I don't know. And I don't know if a cop was originally driving it, but so much to know here. And what I want to find out is, was this like an MK altered person who just went off? Was this a vax injured person who went off? Like, what's going on here? Is this person mentally unstable? They say this 58-year-old guy that they're blaming it on. And a lot of eyewitnesses disagree that it was that person. They're saying that person was drunk, had been drinking. No. They say he was on drugs. That was it. He was on drugs. So, BBC, you can't trust them, of course, because they're deep state and, they're absolutely a captured outfit. I think at this point, though, the BBC is probably just doing the walk of shame and capitulated. But anyway, being shown to be the liars that they are. So I doubt if you should believe anything the BBC says. Okay. But anyway, let's look all around that situation in Liverpool and just try to understand what on earth was going on. First card down will be the driver themselves. What was their mentality at the time and their reason for going for that crowd? So did they even have a reason? I mean, it could be just random acts of violence. Could be because this person was mentally unstable. We'll have a look. Let's see what we got here. They were definitely depressed. Seven of Swords there, so that's interesting. It looks like there was a bit of a plan to it, though. See that card there? That's a strategy card. This was strategic. Okay, we've got the Page of Wands in the background. So wands can be angry if they're badly aspected. So they had some small, minor reason to be angry, and something really tipped them off. But I feel like they planned to go into that crowd and do that because of something that happened in the past they were angry about. The thing that happened in the past was largely exaggerated in their mind, maybe because of their depression. Wow, okay. Now we've got the Ace of Pentacles in the middle. I feel like they will actually find out who really did it. They got that person that day, whether it was that 58-year-old or not. Seems to me the BBC would probably be lying, and maybe they'll be caught lying. Okay, and this will be solved. This doesn't look like MK altering. This literally looks like somebody had a grievance, and it was they planned to do harm, to get revenge or something for their grievance. Okay, and their depression maybe caused them to do it in a way that made no sense, really. You know what I mean? Because sometimes, and this could even be, there could be mental illness there. And they really did think about it ahead of time. And I think their mind was not working as well as it could be, for sure. And that just makes sense. Very angry, too, very angry. And that's interesting. Queen of Swords. So they're going to take it out on just whoever. So somehow the crowd reflected what their original grievance was about. So what we want to look at is who was mainly in the crowd. So they had some grievance that loosely, like that crowd triggered them. And so they went after the crowd. So that card says they thought about it, they went after, because they're trying to play out, or they're playing out some anger for some hurt that was caused to them in the past that created them to be doing this. The hurt could have even been against their child, because that card is a child card. Okay, so possibly one of their children, something happened to one of their children, and then they went after that crowd to get back at. So somehow that crowd triggered them. So what I'd want to ask you viewers there, take a look around, especially if you're from that area of the world, and let us know who was in the crowd, generally speaking. What kind of crowd of people was that? Maybe we'll get a clue to what would have triggered this person, because they literally chose that crowd on purpose. Wow. So that looked like just violence because somebody had a big issue and was triggered and decided to take it out on that crowd. Wow. Okay. Now, the third question, I think it's a great question. Does Trump and Melania actually live in the White House? Because, you know, Coco went online, tried to find pictures of them just daily living in the White House. Nothing. Okay, just right at the beginning, it looked like they moved in and there was some video about them moving in, but that could have all been staged. You know what I mean? You know, of course, we see Trump there every day, you know, and there's 5 or 6 different guys playing Trump. Okay, so it looks like he's busy 24/7, basically. He's either texting things, he's putting out memes, or he's writing big statements and stuff, and or in these big meetings. And it's literally like you'd have to be kind of naive to think that really could be Trump, just one guy in his 70s doing all of that. I know he's got a lot of energy, but I'm just trying to get people to notice that if you watch what they're saying he's up to, he's been flying all over the world and doing things only really 4 or 5 people could do, really. Like, there's no way. Like, just have a look at his, you know, what he does in a day. Okay, just saying, paying attention is really important. And not to say he isn't the front of, just because they're using his brands. People get mad at me when I say that. I'm just saying it's pretty obvious that's not really him every time, okay? So what I want to ask is, does even the doubles of Trump and Melania, any of those people, actually live in the White House? Okay, that's what we're asking. They go back and forth. Even the real Trump, it looks like. So real Trump's been in there since he got in. So that's interesting, because I would have thought they kept him really safe somewhere. But no, they've done some photo shoots or whatever in there for sure. Real Trump does go in there, it looks like, but in and out, in and out. I don't think they actually live there. Okay, so they spend a lot of time somewhere else as well. They split their time, that's what it's saying. Okay, now we've got the King of Pentacles in the middle. The King of Pentacles, yeah, but this is what the general population sees. So they see one of the Trumps or one version of Trump in there as if he's there a lot. Okay, in particular in the offices part, not necessarily, like I said, you can't even find personal pictures of them just hanging out, having coffee in the White House. And I'm not sure that's even a thing that they do with the presidents of the US. So let us know if they've done that in the past with other ones, because certainly we can't seem to find any. Okay, unless it's a total organized photo shoot. Here we've got the King of Cups here. So that card says, yeah, it's a big psyop that he actually lives there. And I feel like a lot of these presidents don't actually live there. So it's maybe been a psyop that they live there. I think that a lot of them split their time a lot of different places, and they just come and go from the White House for photo ops. Wow. Okay, now the other question I have around that is, does he live at this point in Mar-a-Lago? Because just think about how dangerous that might be, right? There've been so many threats on his life. So now I'm going to ask about real Trump, because we know there's some double that seems to hang out there in Mar-a-Lago. And when people go there, they always see the same guy, and it's probably one of the doubles, right? So let's have a look at the real Trump and Melania. Do they actually, is that where they split the time? Because it looks like they go back and forth in places, between a couple of different places. Is Mar-a-Lago one of those places? Because, it would be quite a target place, really. I know, I'm sure it has good security, but it's worrisome, to be honest. Okay, they might go there in unique ways. So maybe there's underground tunneling to get there. Maybe they get dropped off in, I don't know, like underground subs. They fly them in, of course. Yes, so yes, they do spend some time there. Yes, they do. They go in unique ways, though. They go in unique ways. For a long time, they didn't. I wonder, this is in the past leading up to, so they've recently they've recreated going there. Okay, so maybe it was getting completely renoed or something. Let us know if you know why that would be. It's been maybe in the last 3 months they started spending more time there. Interesting. Okay, we've got the death card in the middle here. That's what the public sees. So they don't really see any of this. That card says that as far as they're concerned, a lot of this is just hidden from them. This is more for us. This is for this community. No, real Trump, actually, and even his son there, the big tall guy, Baron Trump, he actually hangs out there too. So isn't that fascinating? Yeah, so they've recently kind of reclaimed Mar-a-Lago, is what it looks like. Wow. So again, let me know if you're from that area and you know something about why they wouldn't have been in there for a while and in the last 3 months started spending more time there. Fascinating. Okay, so 4, let's look at what's really going on in, oh no, we weren't going to do that one. I'm saving that one to do with, I'm saving that one. Oh no, I was going to do that, but I have a different slant. So I want to say this differently. What's going on between Putin and this guy here, Zelensky? What's really going on? Because for years I've been reading on this war they call the Ukraine-Russia war there. And I got it was a giant psyop. It was more about Russia taking out underground tunneling, taking out all the child trafficking, adrenochrome making factories that make like, I'm not going to call them viruses, but illnesses like what they called COVID-19. It was like they probably just dropped that illness places. And there were there were labs that made it, you know what I mean? So it's like germ warfare or whatever. Anyway, that's really what Putin was doing. He's cleaning up the place because it's been a deep state playground and a place where the US deep state has been laundering their money for many, probably hundreds of years even, most likely. Okay, so he's trying to clean it up, and he was talking about cleaning it up for years, and he just went in there and started doing it. Also, Ukraine is technically, and even Ukrainian people tell me this, part of Russia. Okay, the boundaries have never been, really severed there. They're part of Russia, to be exact. So Putin has, good reason to be worried about what goes on over there and wants to clean it up. Okay, so recently there's been all this acceleration about now Putin's not going to talk peace anymore because Ukraine or the Zelensky looks like he tried to take out Putin's one of his planes or something. I can't remember. Like he just tried to shoot him down recently. Like there's all of this stuff. And to me, it's like theater. It's got to be theater. And every time I look at it, it does look like theater. So I'm just going to repeat that I've been getting nonstop, that whole situation was literally resolved a long time ago. And they're playing out things that maybe have happened in the past between these two countries. Okay, so now what we want to do is say what's really going on between these two leaders and even the actors that play them. Let's say that. What are they playing out in the theater we're watching there? What's really going on there? How do they really, like, are they friends when, they're not pretending to be big enemies? Like, what's going on? I actually got that these two actors that play these two people, and they've probably got even more doubles than just one. I got that they were absolutely friends, actually. So let's see if that's still the case. Maybe they got new ones playing each other. This one's going to be Zelensky here, and this one's going to be Putin. Okay, so I got so there's two different people playing Zelensky. Yeah, for sure, maybe even more, but two for sure. So they switch off. This one's Putin. Putin's a white hat, by the way, so it belongs to the White Hat Alliance. So that's good, because for a while there, it was looking like Trump and him were at odds, but I think that was theater too, you guys. I know it's hard to understand and keep up with, but a lot of this is diversion and theater, okay, for other things. Like they need to keep the normies sort of interested over here, but while cleanup projects go on over here. Okay, so we've got the world in the past. Yes, everything already was, like whatever really is going to happen between the Ukraine and Russia has already been decided, and it's already been, and they just haven't told us about it yet. Like this has already all happened. Okay, so it's more like they're presenting the theater of their version of what's happening. Like it's, oh my goodness, it's so confusing. Here we've got the Wheel of Fortune here. It'll be totally different. When this comes out, you're going to know that nothing they said was happening was happening. Okay, nothing they said was happening. And these two are just acting, pretending to be. This is a big act. They're just a big act here. The Zelensky couple of, like there's at least two that you know, take turns being Zelensky here. They look like they're run by the alliance. And look at this card. They know each other in the background. They have meetings together. They plan out how they're going to behave in public together. Okay, and this guy is definitely run by White Hat Alliance. Okay, so and this to me is like the more evolved spiritual version of, so it could even be saying both of these guys are run by the White Hat Alliance. So yeah, wow. And they know each other. Look at that card. They know each other, and they're even friendly. So the actors all know each other. I knew it. Okay, so a lot of what you think's happening, it's all going to be shown later, and you guys can come back and say, yeah, you told us that, Janine, if I happen to be right about this. But I've been getting this for years that was the case, and I'm still getting it. So I'm going to stick with that story. That's what I get. Wow, that is nuts. Okay. Okay, so, and this is interesting. So just out of the blue, I said to Coco, look up the word Lolita. Remember the Lolita Express, the Lolita Express. Okay, with all this talk about Epstein did kill himself, didn't kill himself, how all of the Epstein files haven't come out and everybody's complaining about, which I totally agree is absolutely unbelievable that they haven't arrested so many people. Of course, it'll probably take down all of Hollywood and all of our so-called elites. They've probably all been here. Do you know what I mean? But in all of that, the plane that he rides in is called Lolita, the Lolita Express, or that's what he went back and forth between the island. And guess what that word means? Coco looked it up. So it means, in English language term, defining a young girl as precociously seductive. Okay, just like pedophiles are famous for saying the baby or the child seduced them. That's a famous go-to for pedophiles to explain their behavior. Okay, so precocious, so that's kind of a sexual term, and they're being overt. But a little girl's precociousness, basically. Lolita, it's a nickname for a little girl who's being, and was probably taught to be like that, by the way they were treated, okay? Or sexual abuse from a young age, or just taught to be like that, mimicking, okay? Yeah. Anyway, unbelievable, blaming it on the victim kind of stuff. So I couldn't believe that. But that leads me to, when on earth are we going to see so we're going to do an update on around Epstein. I don't care about he killed, like all of that crazy diversion of he killed himself, he didn't kill himself, that Dan and Cash are wasting our time with. It's a total waste of time. It's pretty obvious he did not kill himself, okay? Not the type of person. We talked about that. I'm not even going into it. But what I am going to look at is update on when can we see arrests for the elites involved in riding on that Lolita Express. When can we see that? Working on it. We're getting close with that card. That's like an 80% card. And that Two of Swords could be any moment. So any moment. So those swords are thoughts, words. They could be as fast as, whoops, sorry. Somebody calling me there. They could be as fast as, whoops, let's do that. Whoop. There and there. Whenever the phone rings, I have to, my whole visuals turn sideways and stuff. Then I got to figure out how to do it. Okay, there we go. So see that Two of Swords? Any moment, those swords could come or move. They could be a thought or a moment. That's how fast swords can move. Okay, so any moment. So it's largely ready to, and it could be any moment. It's going to be Trump and the White Hat Alliance putting them out there. And whatever they're doing, it looks like and this will be irritating to longtime viewers, but I'm sorry, guys. Like, it keeps saying this. It's continued, like, preparing for whatever reason. The people that refuse to listen to this kind of stuff, it's preparing them and giving them time. So they're doing all of these other things to prepare them. So when they do hear this, they actually believe it and pay attention. All right. And so that's frustrating for us because we've been there and down the rabbit holes and paying attention for all these years. You know what I mean? So I feel ya. I'm not saying I agree with that. I'm just telling you what the cards are saying there. Okay, so the near future is, so it does look like with all of those fast moving cards here, this one's really fast moving. Okay, and this is a universal timing. So what we need to know about it, universal timing, it's like this will all be because it needs to be that way is what it's saying. The universe says it knows best. So it feels to me like they seem to, like, their plot or ploy or reason for doing what they're doing according to the universe is exactly how it needs to be, even though our egos are getting frustrated and don't like it. And this says to me quite quickly, like, that this card could move any minute here. And I'd say with this card 8, that could be days, weeks. No, I don't think it's months. Wow. Okay. Yeah. And even though we feel like it's not nearly fast enough, that card says these are temporary setbacks in the really big picture of things. Who knows, right? And I'm more seeing like just the deep underbelly of Pluto and then mix it up with explosive energy of Aries. And I don't know. Yeah.
Wow, that's a lot in your neck of the woods that's going on in that way. Wow. Yeah, I've definitely been noticing it with just like people's moods and reactions and people like kind of having freakouts. I'm seeing a lot of the places I've been going with this Mars-Pluto opposition. So interesting stuff, you guys. We got a lot of people in the comments, Janine, saying happy birthday. And also they're loving your hair today.
Oh.
Beautiful. Did you have a nice birthday?
I did. I did. My kids had a whole day of spaaing. So I got toes, nails, facial and massage. Yeah. So that was my surprise. And then we had the most wonderful dinner, but we started it off with a brunch, then all of that. So I got pampered all day, but I wasn't allowed to have my phone really. Get off your computer and phone, mama. Yeah, it was awesome. And and friends all gathering for dinner. It was wonderful.
Oh, that's so nice. Lovely. Well, thank you everyone for the well wishes out there. And you know that you can find Janine over at her website, tarotbyjanine.com, and also on the Beyond Mystic Academy, where today I'm on Belgium time, I'm trying to think at the top of my head, 4 p.m. Eastern, Janine and I are going to be live for our opening the Psychic Senses Part 2 workshop. So very excited for that. You don't have to have taken part 1 to be able to come take part 2 and join us. So everybody is welcome, no matter what your level of experience is. So we're going to have lots of fun over there, 4 p.m. Eastern on the Beyond Mystic Academy. And you guys, please remember to like, share, and subscribe to the Beyond Mystic Rumble and X channels. So Janine, I'm really excited to talk to you today in our show today about this Pluto retrograde that we've got starting today. And it's not a normal Pluto retrograde because it's our first Pluto retrograde since the 1700s that Pluto will only be retrograde in the sign of Aquarius. So, of course, we know the last time Pluto was in Aquarius was the American Revolution, the French Revolution. We had a lot of historical things going on around the time of 1776. And we're back living in a time where we're in Pluto and Aquarius for another 19 years. But this is the first retrograde of Pluto fully in Aquarius. Janine, do you ever pay attention to the Pluto retrogrades? I know it is the most outer planet, and we can tend to feel the inner planets a lot more in the day-to-day compared to the outer planets. But have you had any personal experiences with Pluto retrograde, noticing it in particular, or not so much compared to the inner planets?
I wouldn't be paying attention, Meg. I'm leaving that up to the experts like yourself.
Yeah.
But I can feel just a little bit. I do know about astrology, how intense it could be. And Pluto being that smaller planet and so far away. But if you think about it like a tether ball, when it does come around, it has a big clout. So when it does aspect things in a powerful way, it's going to be powerful.
Yeah, definitely. And so Pluto has just gone retrograde, literally right before we went live today, Janine, at 3 degrees of Aquarius. So from today, May 4th, 2025, going all the way until October 13th, 2025, Pluto will be retrograde from 3 degrees, 2 degrees, and 1 degree. So I'll share with you guys a little information on this, because this is going to be a really big deal that I think we're really going to feel the influence of it pretty much the whole time. DE644 says, Pluto shaking things up. Yes, definitely. And we're going to get Janine to look at the cards with it as well, of course. So what's interesting is when Pluto is retrograde, we can actually feel, when any planet is retrograde, actually, we can feel its influence stronger. And that's because when planets are retrograde, they're closer to the Earth. So we're feeling Pluto's influence closer to the Earth, even stronger. As I said, this is our first Pluto retrograde in only the sign of Aquarius since the 1700s. When Pluto is retrograde, it is a time of review and reflection in the Pluto-ruled areas of life. Pluto rules transformation, the shadow side of life, our personal shadow, the collective shadow, mystery, secrets, power, magic, merging with others, investments, hidden money. So Pluto, opposite to Venus, is like inheritances, investments, taxes, debts, other forms of money and resources other than the money that we make day to day ourselves. That would be Taurus. Pluto is also really deep forms of cleansing toxicity from our lives. Pluto will be exposing what we need to know about the areas of life that the sign of Aquarius rules in particular. So Aquarius rules freedom, the collective of humanity, the future, community, technology. I think that's going to be a really big thing, Janine, now that we've got AI coming to the forefront, the shadow side of that really being exposed. Innovation, astrology, ETs, outer space, higher consciousness, revolution, and rebelliousness as well. And I feel like we'll also possibly see incredible, innovative new healing modalities during this Pluto retrograde, because Pluto is like real deal ways of cleansing toxicity from our lives, physically, emotionally, and spiritually. And Aquarius and medical astrology can be the DNA, innovative forms of healing. So I think those two kind of go hand in hand, that there's going to be maybe some sort of miraculous thing being revealed to the public. So yeah, see where you have 3, 2, 1 degrees of Aquarius in your personal astrology chart. Even if you don't have any planets at those degrees in Aquarius, you'll have the first degrees of Aquarius in a certain house. So that house is being activated with this Pluto retrograde. This may be an area of life that you can be going through a great healing, transformation, or even exposing of secrets. And what's really interesting too is during this Pluto retrograde, Pluto will be in very positive aspects to the 2 other outermost planets. So this is very good news, Janine, because it's very scary for us astrologers when we've got Pluto in bad aspects. The last time we had Pluto in a really bad aspect was the Pluto-Saturn conjunction of January 2020, and we all know what happened right after that. So this is Pluto in very positive aspects to Uranus and Neptune. So there's an upgrade and positive changes coming for humanity through the revealings that are going to happen. So I think there's going to be very big secrets being revealed through freedom-based media and court trials. Also possible arrests of criminals and justice being served for humanity. We got so many people in the comments, Janine, say, Janine, you look amazing. I love your hair.
Thanks, you guys.
So yeah, before we pull any cards, Janine, what are you picking up, like feeling just intuitively gut level as we're entering this Pluto and Aquarius retrograde?
I'm getting the words buckle up. I mean,
wow.
It sounds like a buckle up moment, like with some news that came out, like we're going to share it a little later in the show, like things that truthers and people that have long been exposing the truth have been hinting at, and what we've been getting, you and I both in both of our explorations of what's going on in the world. I feel like buckle up time.
Wow. Okay. So should we do like a general read, first of all, of what we can expect for this Pluto retrograde transit? Is there another way that you'd want to phrase that question, Janine? What do you think?
I like how you did it. Yep.
Okay.
What can we expect exactly?
What can we expect?
And let's put it, what can this community and those watching expect? Generally, right. Like we're kind of more looking at who's viewing the channel here. We're reading for you.
Okay.
Right? That's who we're reading for.
That sounds good.
Because it's almost like we're on 2 different timelines. I mean, there's what the public will see, and then there's what we're seeing.
Mm-hmm.
It's different for everybody. Okay, so we've got the 2 of Pentacles there. So rocky, that can be a rocky card where it's like a little bit like you might feel a little off balance, and some physical things could be upsetting, like physically watch your usual aches and pains and where your issues are. They could be triggered, but also financial ups and downs in the market could be a really big thing, or big wide swings. And maybe the beginning of starting to see a rocky future for housing markets. For some reason, I got that when I looked at that. Okay, now here we've got the 4 of Cups. So this is the hidden things coming, but from unusual sources. So not the usual sources. So you had mentioned that earlier, Meg. It'll be more from media sources that aren't sort of mainstream. But right. To be honest, it's like our sources are replacing the mainstream. So for a while now, we might be able to get away with saying that. But I'd say by this time next year, we're going to be the main source of info. Yeah. I'm telling you, channels like this. But for now, it'll appear like they're coming from alternative sources. Now we've got the King of Wands in the middle. Lots and lots of activity, Trump in the white hat based. And we are seeing a lot of trolling by Trump. We're seeing, like, what did he do with that? They had him looking like the Pope there. He was and a lot of people that hate him, like, have Trump derangement syndrome, and which are a lot of people, and even really close by me. I got people I can't even talk about Trump
Right.
in my household, So like they were so offended by this. They didn't see the humor in it. They don't see the
Mhm.
humor in, but they have no clue how he's being used as a brand and trolling, and how
Right.
this could, because if you haven't been following what we know about the Vatican and exposing the deep state, and if you didn't see that he's doing that, this would be weird or offensive for sure. So I
Mm.
get that, but I feel like you'll see him really being more in your face about all of like really more towards this community. He's more speaking directly to us, and
Mhm.
less because for years his brand has been really speaking to the normies, but I feel like he stepped really away from that, even in that particular meme and other things that he's done lately.
Right.
Okay, so the near future, we've got the Hierophant. So that can be, I feel like a big spill of information about the deep state, and a real marking where you get to really separate and people get a real understanding, and maybe even beyond this community, a real understanding of who is that when we say that, and that it's real and not just some boogeyman.
Mhm.
Like a lot of my relatives think I'm just talking about the boogeyman and not their own government, their own medical workers, their own higher ups in medical fields, their own doctors, possibly their own clergy peoples, whatever. No,
Yeah.
like anybody in high up in official places are who we're talking about, but they're seeing it as some elusive, and they just can't fathom that these entities, energies would want to hurt you. Can you
Right.
imagine? Like they haven't even got that quite through their heads yet. You know what I mean? But I feel like that could, something that drops could really put the spotlight on. There is really this boogeyman, and he's right in your backyard.
Wow.
He's in your grocery store. He's right up and personal in your life. So I feel like that'll be interesting. And here we've got the Knight of Swords there, the Knight of Swords. So that's this is advice here. So our advice. So this is speedy. This guy really tries to understand his intuitive knowing and moves very quickly on intuitive guides and or guidance.
Mhm.
And it also like uses his intellect and intuition in equal force, but moves very quickly on things. So we're going to get information that will need to really adjust things in our lives and move quickly on. There may even be people deciding to physically move with that card, and
Mm.
lots of motion, and in the coming months people making that decision to actually physically move and
Right.
get out of harm's way, that sort of thing, because some places could really start to look dangerous to be in. And to be honest, that's been happening a lot when you look at what's going on in the UK, Ireland, right here in Ontario,
Mhm.
eastern provinces of Canada, places in like Portland's long been like, I don't know anyone who's awake who's still living in Portland. If you are, I'm sending you ravens. Do you know what I
Mm.
mean? Those kind of
Yeah.
places, right?
Yeah.
California. But see the King of Pentacles here. The King of Pentacles also stay. So be ready to move, but really notice what's going on physically with your money abundance. Maybe make adjustments you need to make, because I think the financial market's finally going to show its true colors too. So really make sure you have physical cash on hand, physically get comfortable. If you do end up being out of electricity for a while, like I
Mhm.
feel like make yourself comfortable, but be also ready to move at a moment's notice. I know that sounds pretty intense, but that's
Mm.
just reading the cards there.
That's wild, Janine, because that's exactly what I've been feeling the past few days, is that many of us, including myself, we may have to make a really big decision. I don't know if any of those cards have to do with also like a really big decision kind of fast in terms of where to go, like in terms of where to physically be located.
That's what that guy does. Yeah, he's
Right.
ready to move on a moment's notice and follows his instinct where. So try to be intuitive if you're in a place where you need to get away from. And that could even include, are you in a big crowd that day? Do you need to exit the crowd? Like if
Mm,
you're in a crowded market or something and it doesn't feel right, get the heck out of there. People are using their vehicles to murder people. Like that seems like a trend. You know what
right.
I mean? And just weird things going on. People like losing it because they're finding things out that they can't handle,
Yeah.
and they weren't paying attention. So it all like Pluto can just come up and explode on you right out of nowhere. So people could like mental issues they've been having for a long time could really take over, and these, you don't know what's going on. So it's just like be extra cautious, especially in crowds, and in particular in your area where you live. If it's feeling unsafe, think about what to do about that.
Yeah, that is such good advice. And Bean saying, like you, Janine, trust your gut,
Yep.
right? But Janine and I may be saying these things, and other people may be saying other things to you guys. But the most important thing at the end of the day is how you feel in your gut.
Yep.
So, for example, like a lot of people like myself are considering possibly going to Alberta. But for you personally, if when you hear Alberta, you physically feel off and that doesn't resonate at all, but you think, oh, maybe I
Mhm.
should go because everybody else is doing it.
No.
No, listen to what your gut, what
Yeah.
your heart is saying, right?
Yeah.
Discernment. That's the most important thing. So true, Bean. So it's interesting, Janine. We have all these news stories happening all the time, and I feel like many of us have become kind of jaded to it or numb to it in a way. And this past week, we had, of course, RFK Jr. I'm sure you saw this one, talking about the health and human services sector of the government has been a collaborator in child trafficking, and there's 300,000 children that are now missing because of the supposed Biden administration, child trafficking in the HHS, all kinds of different things being revealed. Absolutely wild. And as we come into this week, Janine, of, Pluto has just gone retrograde today, May 4th. We're having the P. Diddy trial start this week, but it's the first preliminary parts of that. So it won't actually be until Monday, May 12th, where we see the opening statements and them actually in the trial for the first time. But that's coming up. I want to ask you about that in a moment. But what we have pressing this week right away as we go into this week is James O'Keefe supposedly going to be releasing the biggest story, biggest bombshell of his whole career. So for those of you who haven't seen this yet, let me just play. It's a very short little clip of James O'Keefe saying that he's scared and to please pray for him because of what he's going to be about to release to the public. So take a listen to this.
I'm going dark. I'm not suicidal. Pray for me. This one scares me, guys.
Very plutonic. Hey, Janine, that video is like very plutonic. I'm scared. I'm going dark. Please pray for me. I'm scared about this one, you guys. And then just walks away. Okay. Then we have this is about a 2-minute clip, but I want to play this for you guys. Alex Jones talking about the fact that James O'Keefe has basically put in place a death switch to where if James O'Keefe does get taken out within the next few days before he's able to put out this new bombshell, Alex Jones will be releasing it. So here's Alex Jones talking about the information he's received from James O'Keefe.
I have never had so many massive, giant stories in my lap that are earth shaking. And I've never, on top of it, been at the epicenter or very close to the center of 2 of the 3. And I'm involved in the other. And by saying that, I mean dangerous, dangerous, dangerous. I mean, I could feel the angel of death's wings flapping around. So I'm given this information, obviously, as a dead man switch, so that if the people that are set to release it get killed, I release it. So I talked to James O'Keefe this morning, and I'm the only person he's told this information to. And he and his crew are going into complete hiding. And they're going to release 2 big stories. He said next week. I said, you got to release this right now. And I said, so let me guess, you called in case they kill you, right? And he goes, yeah. And he said, I'm going to be talking to him later and getting the information. And I'll just say that publicly. All right. And the information, I've got to talk to people I know. I get to talk to him more later and ask him, because I didn't get to this part with him. I just thought of this. And obviously, I would need to distribute it for everybody's safety, but if he doesn't want me to, I'll just hold on to it. But a lot of people have already been killed over this information. This whole area. And I also need to talk to some of my good current and former FBI sources. I mean, quite frankly, most journalists would work, a year on something like this. And we are like air traffic controllers here. We've got so much going on. There's not time for that. But please pray for James O'Keefe, and please pray for me.
They both look genuinely scared, Janine, I think, talking about this information. What do you feel about that? Before we get into any cards, do you feel anything around that? Do you feel it's around anything particular? Or is this just a theater? Or are they genuinely scared for good reason?
Well, for a long time, I've been getting, before anything else can really shift in this world, we need to get to the adrenochrome, child trafficking, SRA, satanic ritual abuse, which has been outed and outed and outed by survivors, and never really, the public never wants to hear about it, really. Right. Even though all the elite families in the club are doing it to their own children, and then placing all of these different man wives in with famous people, and transgendering their children from birth. And I feel like it must be that kind of the lifestyle of these people, and how they go about abusing and raping and actually using the body parts of children. Like, it's disgusting, honestly. Yeah. And I'm being matter of fact about it, but it's because I've wrenched over it for years. So I just need people to know. I feel like it must be that, in my opinion, but I don't know. Right.
Yeah. And as you're saying that, Janine, I know I shout this book out all the time by Annika Lucas, a Belgian survivor of the SRA group. She's just an amazing woman, along with Kathy O'Brien and so many of these other courageous survivors. This book is amazing, you guys. Quest for Love, Memoir of a Child Sex Slave. It's a very hard read, but she goes in depth into exactly what you're talking about, Janine. What the heck is actually going on here? It's so much darker than what has been exposed in the mainstream. So, and that's what's really going on here, right? That's how they get the blackmail on people. That's how they get people in the cults. That's how they get the pop stars. It's these children that have been in these societies. So absolutely wild. How should we look at this with the cards, Janine? Do you want to look at, what can we expect? What kind of information can we expect from this, first of all? And then maybe ask, how can we prepare for what's about to come out? Because I feel like this is going to be a really big deal.
So I don't think these guys are making this up. This card is really grounded, feet on the ground, and this feels like O'Keefe to me. Like
Okay.
he's a hard-working guy. He feels like he really gets into details on things where he'll send people in and they'll get like he gets the receipts, as it were, because he'll actually get them on tape saying stuff. And so he worked really, really hard on this one.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I think there's way more dead man switches than just Alex Jones. And I'm
Okay.
pretty sure even the bad guys would know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so that's interesting. That justice card in the background, and then now the devil in the middle, that it's real. Those guys aren't making it up, even though a lot of people are saying they probably are. I don't think they are, looking at these cards.
Yeah.
But I do think that a lot of what he's saying, the community might have known already. So there's no big surprise cards. This is more about finally clarity and truth. So it could be a lot of the things we know. Okay, but it's not really telling me. It's very dark cult stuff. Okay, we know that it's stuff that they get tribunaled for. So that would be like really big crimes against humanity, fitting, that a lot could go in there. Yeah. Okay. There's an adrenochrome card, party substance card, what they do at parties. I mean, just before this, I remember I shared somebody talking about a certain club, and I'm sure there's lots of these, but a certain ball club, and I think they were footballers, but I'm not 100%. But I'm sure that a lot of big sports do this, okay? Because, there's a lot of club activity. And when I say club, I mean dark cult, Khazarian mafia. And a lot of, and those really big games that happen, like they're really like rituals, satanic rituals. And even the stadiums are shaped like satanic symbols and symbolism and all kinds of stuff going on there. It's like a satanic ritual you're involved in, going to those big games and having those. And sorry to ruin it for people that love their sports, but if you think about the history of where it comes from, it's obvious that it's a deep cult sort of thing. But anyway, secret society kind of thing. These games, and most of them are rigged. I'd say they were rigged 100%, frankly. But anyway, so here we've got the three. So it came out that there was a group that would be for big games or after, depending, and as a treat for if they won a big game, the whole club would get infants and children and women, depending on what they wanted, probably men too, but humans, including infants, babies, and children, delivered to the backroom party or whatever, and they could do whatever they wanted. Like, and this is a theme. And the Diddy stuff, just the little bit they put on social media, it's just the tip of the iceberg, and it's already talking about parties like that. So you can imagine what's happening. So that's in the music industry, but every industry like this that's club dominated. They're all club dominated. Comedians, musicians, I don't care who it is. Sports clubs are all dominated by, and if you want to get anywhere big in them, and why do you think they pay them millions of dollars to do what they're doing? Because they're in the club, you guys. Right. I feel like it'll be information club related, like deep state club. So all of those things we mentioned earlier. Satanic abuse of humans, adrenochrome use. Just think about it. Or anyway, some kind of evidence about partying activities, and maybe even a tape outlining it. You know what I mean? Something real.
Wow, that is wild. And I wonder, Janine, okay, I want to do clarifiers on two things. First of all, have you felt an energy the past couple weeks of more psychic attacks than usual, or the darker forces that are still present trying to get us wrapped up into fear? Is that something that you've been picking up? Because I've been personally picking that up. Yeah,
absolutely. In a lot of weird different ways. And I've been using that little roll-on Devil's Club.
Yeah.
that's infused Devil's Club. And a lot of people mention, by the way, I'll just say this. Why would you use something like it's from a plant called Devil's Club. It grows all over North America. Okay. And it's known by indigenous communities to be really protective, especially spiritually, against spiritual attacks. And at a conference, I got an indigenous group of people to make up a bunch. Now, that group, the woman owns the company, since been closely, a big physical tragedy happened in their family. Anyway, so we can't get any more of it for a while, but you can find it online. So you need it. Smaller companies, keep it to smaller companies, but I've been using it a lot. So I put a little dab here, a little bit right on the back, like on your third eye, on this bump here, where your back meets your neck kind of thing. You guys know the bump, right? And then your belly button. I was taught by a Haida medicine man, that's a high protection. Also, you can shave off if you get some actual Devil's Club. But somebody wrote me, and I'll just quickly say, and they said, why would you use something with the word devil in it? Well, it's called Devil's Club. What does that say to you? Clubbing the devil.
Right.
Okay, so guess what? Take back your power on these words and mix them together with other words. We're clubbing the devil. Okay, let's think about it that way. And it's long been called that, so I'm not going to take away the name that these people gave it just because I'm scared, right? I'm not scared.
Yeah, that is such a good point, Janine, and thank you for sharing that. Is the Devil's Club still available? Does Carla still have it available?
You might have a few left.
Over at AscensionOrganites.com.
Yeah, and we might have to wait till fall for this person to get theirs up and running again because of a huge family tragedy. But what you can look around, and you want smaller companies doing it. And if you can, I would get it done by ones that call them, or are known to be indigenous, because I don't know, they sort of invented it for those purposes. Just saying,
Yeah, exactly, for sure. Can we also look at, talking about the P. Diddy trial, it's interesting that all these things are happening at the same time. We're about to have this huge bombshell from, hopefully it's James O'Keefe. We're going to send prayers, positive love his way. But and it's funny, Janine, because there are multiple people. You're totally right. There's actually multiple people who have whatever the tapes are. I heard Alex Jones, as we said, he said he has the tapes, but James O'Keefe also gave his whole team and put them off into completely different areas, the tapes of whatever it is he's talking about. So this information is going to come out one way or another. Now, we've also got the P. Diddy trial coming out at the same time. Is this just a show, Janine? Is this just a distraction, or is there going to be anything really substantial coming out from this P. Diddy trial? Can we look at that?
That is a good question, Meg.
Because I'm excited. As a Scorpio, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to watch the P. Diddy trial. But then, what if it's just nothing?
What if it's just theater again?
What if it's just theater? Right.
Oh, that would be so disheartening. Let's have a look.
Right.
Like, remember what they did with Johnny Depp and his ex or whatever? What a joke that was, and what was that waste of time for everybody, just to see how dysfunctional these people are. And by the way, when I read on those two, they were totally just managing each other. She was his handler, and it was just a big show of just to show you how dysfunctional these couples are. They're not real couples, by the way. Hollywood couples aren't real couples. Okay, so neither are royal family couples. It's all just a managed show. Okay, let's have a look. P. Diddy. So we got the Four of Wands, so that's hopeful. That's like a breakthrough card.
Yeah.
We've been all waiting a long time, so it'll be a nice breakthrough to actually get this guy, out in the open some of his stuff that he's been doing, and let a lot of different people watching. We've got the surrender cards. We don't know why that is. That's an illusion. So that whole community or that whole, I guess, industry has been an illusion, right? It's really just a big, like, disgusting the way they bring these young kids in, like what happened to Justin Bieber, and do you know what I mean? So they bring them in, they rape them in public at these parties and get them under their thumb because they've got video footage of, and the whole thing is a rape, and like they also force them to be having sex with same sex. So even if they weren't inclined, okay, do you think there's that many gay people in the industry? I don't think so. But somebody outed that they're all having like gay sex at these parties. And if you try to walk away from it, you're totally looked down upon, frowned upon, and now you're outed, and they start blocking your ability to make a living in the industry. Like a lot of these rappers and music industry people have outed that that's a thing. So if you don't go along with that, and it's just a debauch party of keeping you controlled with debauchery, and they got stuff on you. Right? So it's like, makes you wonder about Gay Pride Month. Why is it a month long? Why do we put such an emphasis on? Honestly, if you're a gay person, I couldn't care less who you have sex with, as long as they're a consenting adult and you're both not disempowering yourself. Okay, if you're peeing on each other and whatever, honestly, I'm not impressed. But that, like, I would say you need counseling and you're probably insane. Okay, like I'm just saying, because that you're not self-loving to have something like so. I'm not saying I condone everything they do together, and straight people can do that too, and I wouldn't condone it either. I'm just saying, what I'm saying is, I am not picking on gay couples. Couldn't care less. But why do we need to have it so in your face?
Right.
I don't care what they're doing there, and we don't need it. And why would they force straight people to do gay acts, right? So it's a control thing. And it's a way for them to control and also diminish them in public with people, their peers, so they know who's like the boss, who's on top, so Diddy was like the big boss, you know what I mean? He was like the one, the cock-a-doodle-doo, and he was keeping these guys in line. And some people think he was a plant, but even if he was, he did a lot of disgusting things, so he's as bad as any of them. I couldn't care less if he started out a plant. He's as disgusting as any of them, because they got literal footage of him and lots of people's evidence that he raped, had them gang raped, and just disgusting things, right? Yeah. So it's like, I feel like this card here in the middle says, it's going to bring out a lot of surrender to it. Won't be fun to listen to, okay, unless you get off on stuff like that and hearing about people's dysfunction. Okay, it also will really bring to the public's eye just how devious and not who you think they are, these people are. Right? You hand over your kids to somebody like that, really? Yeah, like like that guy near anybody you love? No thanks, or any of them. Okay, so we've got that Page of Cups there. I don't think it'll surprise some people, and but it's not going to go the depths that we want. But I just want to remind everybody that this guy is very likely been working with what my card says, he's been working with the White Hats for a long time, outing a lot of people. And even if I'm not condoning what he's been doing, but he's in the process of being processed for years in the background, and a lot of this it's not the real guy going to be on trial. I haven't seen the real guy, like this guy that they're parading around as Diddy. It ain't him. Just keep a close look at, maybe it's somebody wearing a mask, but just watch closely, just keep your intuition sharp. It'll really, this community won't be impressed, but it'll really get some newbies thinking about things, and it's a softer approach than we'd like.
Mm. Wow, very interesting. So for our community, won't be that crazy, like you're saying, Janine, but for some of the newbies out there, might be quite mind blowing.
Chào mừng quý vị và các bạn đã quay trở lại với Kiến Nhật Hệ Thống. Chúng ta tiếp tục theo dõi tập 187 Điện xuyên không ngược về thời Minh. Đám binh lính đội mũ mặc giáp đi thẳng một mạch. Một vạn bộ tốt, trong đó có 3.000 là thiết kỵ. Ngoài thứ giao quân do Dương Lan tự mình dẫn từ Kinh tới, 2.000 còn lại là thủ quân ở Đức Châu. Dương Lăng trấn thủ Đức Châu vốn không phải ở lại đây đôn đốc tác chiến, mà thật sự đấu với Dương Hổ. Hắn dừng ở Đức Châu là vì tầm quan trọng của Đức Châu không thua gì Tế Nam, không bố trí ổn thỏa nơi đây, hắn không thể yên tâm mà gấp rút tiếp viện cho Thái An. Đồng thời nhân lúc hỗn loạn khiến Dương Hổ lơ là âm thầm điều chuyển thủ quân các nơi. Tinh kỵ lưu lục 3 vạn, tố chất quân đội cao hơn Dương Hổ, nhưng nhân số ít hơn. Hơn nữa không có sở trường về công thành, theo lẽ thường thì không có gấp mấy lần chiến sĩ tinh nhuệ. Phải đánh hạ một pháo đài quân sự đã được gây dựng nhiều năm, khó như lên trời vậy. Nhiều khí thế quan quân giảm xuống sẽ làm cho lực chiến đấu giảm xuống nghiêm trọng. Hơn nữa, thủ quân Đức Châu vàng thao lẫn lộn, xuất phát từ những nơi khác nhau, cho nên rất khó tuân lệnh cho đồng nhất. Kết quả là viện quân nhiều hơn, nhưng không phát huy được hiệu quả như là 1+1 bằng 2. Trái lại còn thành ra yếu hơn. Đây là nguyên lý thùng gỗ. Nếu thùng gỗ được tạo thành từ những tấm ván gỗ dài ngắn khác nhau, vậy thì dung lượng lớn nhất của thùng gỗ không do tấm ván gỗ lớn nhất quyết định, mà sẽ được quyết định bởi tấm ván gỗ ngắn nhất. Thủ vệ thành trì cần quân đội phối hợp chỉnh thể, hiệp đồng tác chiến. Sức chiến đấu mạnh yếu của một đội quân, thắng bại của toàn bộ chiến dịch trên diện rộng không quyết định bởi vài người nào đó hay một chi đội vượt trội xông lên, càng không quyết định bởi tình hình tổng thể ở đó, mà quyết định bởi một số mắt xích yếu kém còn tồn tại có xông ra hay không. Đức Châu quân có quan quân, có tuần bổ, có hương binh Đinh Dũng, có dân trắng. Hơn nữa, quan binh đến từ tứ phương, phe phái, sơn đầu rất đông. Hợp lại chừng ấy người, nghĩ thôi cũng biết là rất khó rồi. Dương Lăng lâm chiến ở Đức Châu hết sức quyết đoán, hình sát lập uy, trình đốn chi phối các lộ quân không đồng nhất, tạo nên quyền chỉ huy tuyệt đối cùng với uy vọng của La Sĩ Quyền. Chính là vì trách nhiệm phải thủ vững Đức Châu. Hắn sắp xếp Bảo Định và Thiên Tân, hai chi viện quân có số lượng lớn nhất đến Tang Viên Khẩu và 12 liên thành, triệu hồi toàn bộ thủ quân bản địa của Đức Châu quay về thành Đức Châu, đồng thời giữ lại đội quân dễ chỉ huy và nghe lệnh ở lại Đức Châu, tăng mạnh năng lực điều hành thống nhất, đảm bảo sự an toàn cho pháo đài quân sự Đức Châu này. Đợi khi sĩ khí quân tâm vững vàng trở lại, lệnh của La Sĩ Quyền vừa ra, đủ để điều khiển thủ quân Đức Châu thống nhất. Lúc này, Dương Lăng mới đột nhiên tuyên thệ trước khi xuất quân, tự mình dẫn binh mã đi, nhân lúc nửa đêm lặng lặng rời khỏi thành Đức Châu, lao tới Thái An trong đêm. Cờ xóa chữ Dương trên đầu thành Đức Châu chưa bị gỡ xuống, Lưu Lục Lưu Thất vốn không biết Dương Lăng đã im lặng rời đi, còn dẫn theo 1.200.000 người. Lúc này phía trong thành Đức Châu vẫn còn 2.600.000 quan binh. Trong tình huống bình thường cũng có thể giằng co với đại quân Lưu Lục, huống chi còn có 2 lộ đại quân của Tang Viên Khẩu và 12 liên thành viện trợ lẫn nhau. Đại quân Lưu Lục không biết chi tiết, hơn nữa thương vong cũng thê thảm nghiêm trọng vô cùng. Vì giằng co một hồi, bên ngoài thì vẫn hùng hổ bày ra thái độ muốn quyết chiến. Kỳ thực đã thay đổi chủ ý, muốn kìm chân Dương Lăng và quân đội Đức Châu phối hợp với Dương Hổ cướp lấy Thái An, Tế Nam rồi. Kế hoạch ám độ Trần Thương của Dương Lăng không thể nói là không lớn gan, nhưng để giảm bớt nọc độc của Dương Hổ ở Sơn Đông, giảm tổn thất của đại hưng xuống mức thấp nhất, đây là cách duy nhất. Nếu không, viễn cảnh Sơn Đông sẽ càng trở nên thối rữa. Như một vòng tuần hoàn ác tính, bọn phỉ càng tiêu diệt thì chỉ càng nhiều thêm mà thôi. Quan phủ truyền ra ngoài, bọn Hưởng Mã Đạo, Bạch Y Quân làm rằng là vậy, thúc ép loạn dân ra sao? Kỳ thực có một số chuyện rất khó nói rõ ra ngoài. Dân chúng kêu rằng Dương Hổ Lưu Lục trong mấy tháng ngắn ngủi tập hợp được mấy vạn binh, quyết không chỉ dùng cách bức ép hay là dụ dỗ bằng lợi ích để xử lý. Triều đình thi hành biện pháp chính trị quá hà khắc cũng là một trong số những nguyên nhân gây ra chuyện này. Dân chúng Hà Bắc Sơn Đông đã hơn trăm năm vì đảm bảo cung ứng ngựa cho biên quân quân Minh, gánh nặng lao dịch của mã hậu cực kỳ nặng nề. Vì đảm bảo nuôi ngựa cho tốt, bọn họ phải trả cái giá rất đắt, không chỉ là chậm trễ việc cày cấy mà thôi. Hơn nữa, khi chăm ngựa để ngựa chết hoặc ngựa giống sinh sản không đạt được hạn ngạch, còn phải bồi thường tổn thất. Nông dân nghèo rất mồng tơi, không thể không bán điền sản, bán con cái, xung vào khoản thâm hụt, thật là khổ không tả xiết. Khi biên quân tạm thời không cần nhiều ngựa trưởng thành như thế, quan phủ cũng sẽ không đoạt lại toàn bộ ngựa. Bọn họ cũng không thể đảm đương chăn nuôi quân mã khổng lồ như vậy. Vì thế phải nuôi trong nhà dân. Chia ra, nuôi dưỡng ngựa trưởng thành trong nhà nông hộ cũng là để tiết kiệm. Lượng lớn chiến mã của hai đội ngũ dương hổ lương độc chính là nguồn gốc từ sưu cao thuế nặng mà có được. Bởi vì gánh nặng của dân chúng quá nặng như vậy, đến nỗi người đương thời than thở: họa Giang Nam lương thực làm đầu, họa Hà Bắc ngựa làm đầu. Cùng lúc vùng gần kinh kỳ Hà Bắc, Sơn Đông, Phú Tân tương gia giàu có không bằng phía Nam. Nhưng địa chủ quan liêu lại mù quáng như là cá giết sang sông vậy. Như Diễn Thánh Công là một trong những địa chủ lớn ở Sơn Đông, có được triệu mẫu ruộng tốt, đó là khái niệm như thế nào? Dân chúng mấy huyện phụ cận hết thảy đều là tá điền của gã. Làm địa chủ nếu khắc nghiệt một chút, tham lam thu lại một ít cũng đủ gây đau khổ cho muôn dân trong huyện rồi. Mã chính bóc lột, thôn tính đất đai bị thôn tính làm cho đồng cỏ giảm bớt, ngược lại làm cho mã chính bóc lột càng thêm trầm trọng. Cái của triều đình chỉ thấy cái lợi trước mắt, khiến cho rất nhiều dân chúng oán ghét quan phủ không ngừng. Một khi hủy hoại niềm hy vọng sinh tồn cuối cùng của dân chúng, đây sẽ là đội ngũ phản loạn. Bọn họ vốn không trông mong gì vào triều đình mà lựa chọn theo phỉ. Thậm chí nông dân bị quan thân địa chủ chèn ép ít lâu, chủ động tiếp tế viện trợ mã tặc, là nhìn quan phủ như nhìn kẻ thù vậy. Bởi vậy, mặc dù Sơn Đông không phải nơi quá gần kinh sư, chỉ dựa vào hoàn cảnh xã hội nơi đây cũng dễ dàng nảy sinh kẻ phản loạn, dễ dàng trở thành căn cứ ổn định của Bạch Y quân. Dương Lăng cũng không thể không coi trọng, không thể không dốc toàn lực diệt trừ mối họa lớn này. Chiến mã hí dài, chiến kỳ phần phật, khoái mã gọn nhẹ, đội ngũ kỵ binh hùng tráng nhanh nhẹn dũng mãnh phóng như bay về phía trước. Kiều Tứ Hải dẫn bộ tốt bám theo phía sau. Kiều Tứ Hải đã tham gia chiến tranh kháng oa, kinh nghiệm lâm chiến rất phong phú, còn giỏi về mai phục, đánh đột kích có thể trọng dụng. Đức Ly mặc quân trang, ngồi cạnh Dương Lăng, nàng để nóng trụ sang một bên, mái tóc dài xinh đẹp xõa xuống, trong vẻ oai hùng lộ ra nét dịu dàng quyến rũ, rõ ràng càng thêm phần xinh đẹp. Dương Lăng nhẹ nhàng đặt tay lên em nàng, vuốt ve tóc nàng, thấp giọng nói: một lát nữa thôi đã tới Vũ Thành rồi. Nàng nên hành động theo kiểu tam tướng thì hơn. Bên phía Thái An, đồng binh mã, ta sợ không chiếu cố cho nàng được. Xe lắc lư, Đức Ly nhẹ nhàng cầm tay Dương Lăng dịu dàng nói: Dương, tại sao không để ta cùng với chàng sóng vai tác chiến chứ? Ta không chỉ có thể đi thuyền đánh giặc, mã thuật của ta cũng rất khá mà. Chàng đối chiến mà vẫn không nắm chắc nữa. Dương Lăng hất đầu trầm tư nói: không, trận chiến này Dương Hổ thất bại. Quân đội của hắn mạnh thì mạnh thật, tuy nhiên thời gian ngắn như thế, tập hợp đội quân khổng lồ như vậy, hắn sẽ không có thời gian chỉnh đốn ước thúc. Khi chiến sự thuận lợi để tranh đoạt tài vật, ai trong bọn họ cũng đều dũng mãnh như hổ. Một khi gặp kẻ mạnh tay áp chế, sẽ lập tức sụp đổ. Phỉ chỉ là phỉ mà thôi. Nhưng câu chuyện này, bọn họ chiếm ưu thế về số lượng. Trên thực tế, so sánh với đại quân triều đình, bọn họ vẫn là thế đơn lực bạc. Toàn bộ quân đội tác chiến chỉ bằng khí thế. Nông dân nghèo khổ theo phỉ thì có bao nhiêu kinh nghiệm tác chiến đây, càng không có năng lực phối hợp với nhau khi muốn thực quản đại quân hỗn chiến. Dương Lăng cười lạnh nói: ưu thế của bọn họ là cơ động linh hoạt, có thể tác chiến xuất kỳ bất ý, nhưng Dương Hổ vẫn không suy nghĩ đến chuyện thành lập căn cứ địa vững chắc, lấy Sơn Đông làm hậu phương lớn. Bọn lính vẫn mệt mỏi bôn ba. Ta nghĩ hiện giờ quân nhu tiếp tế tiếp viện đã gặp khó khăn lớn. Việc này dễ dàng cho ta tập trung minh lực một kích đánh ta. Đức Ly khẽ gật đầu, nhẹ nhàng tựa vào vai hắn nói: một trận chiến này có thể diệt hết phản quân Dương Hổ không? Dương Lăng lắc đầu thở dài: nói dễ hơn làm. Có là quân thần cũng không có được chiến quả như vậy, trừ phi Dương Hổ thề sống chết một trận, quyết không lui được sau. Nếu không, cho dù ta có điều đến 1